is a perfect 90 degrees. Well, that's as perfect as I'm able to get it. Hi guys, and welcome back to the show. Today we start making an MFT or multifunction table. I want to use it with my track saw, and my goal is to be able to make close to perfectly 90-degree cuts on it. So let's not waste any more time and get right down to it. I feel like a barbarian. I drew a line parallel to the factory edge on a piece of some old IKEA furniture, and I then made tiny guide holes for the drill bit 10 centimeters apart, and I drilled them out with a 4mm drill bit on the drill press. Now I'm going to mark out where we will drill the holes using the jig I just made, and we're going to use this to check that the pattern we make is perfectly square. Luke, I am Nomad Makes. Aligning the edge of the guide with the factory edge of the desktop, I clamped the guide down with my homemade 3D printed clamps and drilled 5 4mm holes. So now I'm taking a 4mm drill bit. I'm going to insert it into the jig, turn it 90 degrees and drill 3 up. And then we get to check, because from the 3 to the 4 there should be 5. I've also put the tabletop on top of a 2x4 to try to avoid rip out or tear out. One, two, three, four. Oh, sorry. This is not square. So the next part needs some explaining. I figured out that the line I drew was not perfectly parallel to the factory edge. And also I figured out that the spacing of the holes was not perfectly equal to one another. So I solved it with making a drill guide with 2 holes, and I used that to space up the holes for the second jig. Finally, I'm happy with the line I've drawn. What I had to do is put this on the side and leave the ruler like this and draw along the side. So for this part of the operation, it's only the relative distance between the holes that matters. I used a bench top and a drill bit to align the edges of the 2 jigs. I then drilled the next hole. Using this method, I drilled a total of 6 holes in the jig, and these should now be in line and have the same spacing. Luckily I have one more 4mm drill bit, but we can still use the back part for the alignment. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, he's a learner. With the drill jig complete, I measured out and marked the starting position for the grid of holes. Using a drill bit as an anchor and a precision square, I aligned the jig with the tabletop. A second hole was drilled to use as a second anchor for the jig. I then checked it again with a ruler and proceeded to drill out the remaining holes. I repositioned the jig to check it for accuracy. I'm moving it to see if the relative distance is correct. And it is, and that's wonderful. The first win of today. Come on, learn. So I've pivoted it 90 degrees. I'll go 1, 2, 3, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we should have 5 in the diagonal. So if we have the tolerances right now, there's 3 units up there, and 1, 2, 3, 4 units to here. 4. There should now be 5 units in between these. 3, 4, and 5. Come on, buddy! Yes! 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 That is a perfect 90 degrees. Well, that's as perfect as I'm able to get it. So now I'm rotating it this way again. So let's start from this edge. So let's see now. We're on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes! So now it's just drilling the holes, basically. So what we'll do now is the reference of these 2 holes. Say these 2 holes, and we'll continue drilling out. Ah, there you are. So now I'm going to attempt to make a drill guide for the Forstner bits. And my plan is to take some 18mm MDF, get 3 of the holes into it, and try to reference something out of that. Okay, so what do we have here? I drilled these 2 holes on the drill press, and I also drilled a 3rd one. Then I changed the drill for the Forstner bit, so it's supposed to have the same center as these other 2. And as you see, I fixed them with the drill bits into the MFT here. And I drilled this out on the drill press as well. It's the same diameter as the shank of the Forstner bit. So if you see, I put the Forstner bit into the hole I pre-drilled here. There's a little bit of play into it, but when I put this part on top, there's almost no play. So my plan now is to fix this block to the jig here, and hopefully that will be a good enough guide to make these holes as straight as I can possibly get them. It's as good as I can get it, I think. Okay, so here goes nothing. I could then test the fit with my 3D printed bench dogs. And we're looking good so far. So let's see now. Yes! It's spot on! Can you see that? That's perfect. Okay, I'll bring you back if something exciting happens. Well, despite all the cheering, this MFT is a complete failure. So I made some helping lines to try to assess the situation here, and this line here looks really good. And it's not as bad as I thought, but there are areas that are completely out. In the next video in this series, we will look at the reasons why this failed, and I hope you guys will contribute for that in the comment section below. After that, my goal is to do a proof of concept on how to make your own DIY MFT without buying an expensive jig. But before we end today, I'm trying out my new camera, which is an old camera. It's a Canon EOS M, and I've added a Rode video micro on top of it. So if you can hear a difference or see a difference between this and this, please make sure to give me your feedback in the comment section below. But again, that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. If you want to support me, there's a link to my Patreon as well as Amazon links to products I use and recommend below. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.